So I know there's a lot of speculation in terms of No Way Home sets and when we're going to see them, and I've had a few comments on my previous video on my set predictions. I just want to clarify a few things and clean some stuff up that video wasn't particularly clear on. First of all, I think these are what LEGO are going to make, and it's not what I want. That's what this video is going to be about. The rumor at the time was that 3 Spider-Man sets were coming, and that's what I thought LEGO were going to do based on that information. Now that we know that information is most likely not the case, and the whole 3 sets fiasco is just null and void now, I actually see that as a plus, because 3 sets for No Way Home, in my opinion, wasn't enough to cover all of the bases. Again, something I clarified in that video. So hopefully this means that we're actually going to get more No Way Home sets rather than just the 3 that was speculated. As for their release, I said in that previous video that I'd like it to be March or June, and that's not when I think LEGO will release these. I said I'd like it to be those dates because I just want No Way Home sets sooner. But as for when we'll realistically see them, we're not 100% sure. LEGO No Way Home's a film LEGO are more than likely to make sets upon, but we already know a set number list, and if I'm honest, I have no idea whether these could potentially be No Way Home sets or just not. Depending on set numbering, I would assume not because LEGO make a lot of these sets in advance, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'd highly recommend watching Ash and Flash's video on this matter. However, I will say I don't fully believe his point about the whole Sony owning the Spider-Man suits issue that he brings up in that video. As far as I'm aware, Marvel only sold Sony the movie rights and the video game rights to Spider-Man so they can make movies and video games, but all merchandising for toys have always been in the hands of Marvel, which now is Disney, meaning I don't see much of an issue in terms of giving us the Andrew Garfield suit and the Tobey Maguire suit in things like LEGO sets. It's why previously Disney would make a lot of Spider-Man merchandise and try and really market him, is because they were only making money on the merchandise and not the films associated with them. Meaning Marvel and Sony must have some sort of deal in place, which means they can use the same likeness from Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, as well as the same suit design in their toys. Obviously some things may have changed, but as far as I'm aware, Disney still own the toy rights to Spider-Man. But with that cleared up, here is what I would like to see out of a full No Way Home wave. Now, the way I looked at this was I just thought about how I would personally do this if I was in charge of LEGO, and this is personally my wants for a LEGO Spider-Man No Way Home wave, and understand that your opinions might be completely different to mine, and this is in no way what I think LEGO will make. The way I broke this down is into 6 individual sets, including 1 polybag and 1 accessory pack. And once again, I'm going to do this in my blueprint style like I did for my set predictions, just so I can show you a quick rendition of what I think LEGO could make in terms of a No Way Home wave. Going from smallest to largest, we're starting with this 5-pound poly bag, which includes a small little side build of the Fabricator scene in Happy's apartment, and also comes with an Aunt May minifigure. This Aunt May figure would be in the same blue outfit with the red bow, have 1 normal looking face print and 1 cut up and bruised face print for the inevitable scene where she dies moments later. I see this set also including a little syringe piece that would try and emulate the anti-goblin juice that we saw being created in that film that she does inject Goblin with, but unfortunately it doesn't work. Overall, a great 5-pound poly bag that would be not only a good way to give us a printed arc reactor piece on a 1x1 round tile, but also a great way of giving us Aunt May, considering we haven't had this version of Aunt May as a minifigure before. That's the polybag down, now on to what I want from an accessory pack. Now, I said this in my previous set predictions video, and I'd actually really like to see it, and that's an accessory pack of all of the Peter Parkers in the lab scene. Considering most Marvel or licensed accessory packs come with only 3 figures, I think this would be a given opportunity to give us a Tom, Andrew, and Tobey Maguire figure that are probably going to be different variants to the full suits that we'll see in the upcoming sets. One would obviously be Tobey Maguire in his casual clothing, with maybe an indication of a Spider-Man suit underneath, similar to how we saw on the Hydro Man set, where you can see Peter Parker's Spider-Man suit underneath the casual clothing of the minifig. Next would obviously be Andrew Garfield's suit, and hilariously he picks up a lab coat in this scene and wears it above his Spider-Man costume. And not only would I like to see finally LEGO try and produce a Andrew Garfield face print using the Dareth or Egon hair, because I truly think that that represents Andrew Garfield's hair the best. Give us the amazing Spidey 2 suit with a lab coat over it. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll get one without a lab coat, but I want to see the lab coat over it for this particular accessory pack. And as for Tom Holland, you can easily just reuse a lot of pieces in this situation. You can reuse the integrated suit from the Doctor Strange set, as well as the face print that you used on the Zombie Slayer Spider-Man from the CMF. As for their accessories in this accessory pack, I would love to see a table with some form of rack on it that holds the cures to all of these villains that they are trying to cure throughout all of the ending fight. And maybe the table could have some clips so they could just clip into the table so you could display it with the cures or without the cures. And that's the accessory pack. Let me know what you guys think of this one in the comments comment section below. Jumping up to a £35 set here, now there's two £35 sets on this list, one of them being the Electro fight, which would come with the black suit Spider-Man, just reprinted slightly to give us the phone on the chest, as well as a version of Electro that was slightly yellow and also slightly blue to emulate how he looked at the beginning of the film. I also think printing on a trans blue head would be quite cool, and not only that, it would come with a version of Sandman, which would have a build associated with him similar to how we see in the Daily Bugle set, except obviously this Sandman would be full sand. As for the build of this set, I think it would be a electric pylon tower, and a play feature where Spider-Man can rip some of the pylons apart to create that electrical surge that we see in the film. And maybe a little side build of some form of fire station thing, just so Electro can get the clothes. And although I see LEGO only including 3 minifigures with this £35 set, if they were going to push the boat out and do 4 figures, we could potentially even get a human version of Electro in the fireman's gear, and that could just be a reuse of this print from the Molten Man set we saw from the Far From Home wave, and just give him a Falcon CMF hairpiece instead of a fireman's hat. As for the other £35 set on this list, I think it's going to be Happy's apartment lobby, and I think this is going to come with the feast van that you see outside of Happy's apartment. I think the apartment build itself is pretty much just going to be a wall facade. The set would come with Green Goblin in his new outfit, a generic cameraman minifigure, J. Jonah Jameson, and a big fig version of the Lizard. As for play features, I see there being 2. You could either do one where the Green Goblin throws a pumpkin bomb at the wall facade and then everything falls over, but I see that being a bit dark. The most likely play feature I think they'd include on this set is probably Lizard breaking out of the feast van, where some of the feast van can pop off and the Lizard can jump out. However, it will have to be a fairly big van to get that big fig in there. As for my £60 set, of course I'm choosing the bridge battle. This scene is absolutely iconic from this film, and now it's a good way of getting us Doc Ock, the original Green Goblin, and a brand new version of the Iron Spider, hopefully using dark red pieces, as well as dual molded legs, so we can properly get a decent Iron Spider suit and not have to pay £50 on Bricklink for that previous one that in my opinion doesn't even look very good. I think this set could also come with the MIT lady, as well as a suited version of Peter Parker, and I know not particularly in the scene, but you could also give us Flash with a sticker of his Flashpoint book, just to try and get the figure count up. As for the build, it would obviously be the bridge. Now, trying to do this for £60, I could see a nice small bridge being built, something not as big as the Web Warriors set, but definitely something that still carries that sort of vibe. I see the Doc Ock tentacles being done in the same way that we got the Daily Bugle ones done, except I'd love to see that Ninjago piece finally recolored to a light bluish grey instead of a black trans clear. And finally, the big set that I'd like to be revealed between the sort of £100 and £120 mark is obviously the final battle at the Statue of Liberty. This would reuse a lot of the same figures we've seen throughout the wave, things like Doc Ock, Electro, the Big Fig Lizard, but would also give us some exclusive figures like the Andrew Garfield and the Tobey Maguire suit that are in full pristine condition. As for play features, I don't know whether they're going to have some form of scaffolding come down, or the shield come down, or something along those sort of lines. The giant Statue of Liberty figure I see being in the same sort of realm as the large Harry Potter figures, and if I'm honest is very similar to the concept that I portrayed in my 2022 set predictions video that I think LEGO are genuinely going to make. But obviously, like I say, this is a list of sets that I would personally make if I was in charge of LEGO. I think these are all of the sets that fans want, and I think it would be very silly if LEGO didn't try and incorporate some of these sets that I have put forward today. No Way Home has got to be one of my favourite Marvel films, and I'm very excited to see what LEGO genuinely come out and make. However, I do think it will be very similar to a previous video that I've made. Even though the 3 set predictions thing is probably, like I say, null and void at this point, I still think that these 3 sets could be something that genuinely LEGO make. If you want to see that video, click the screen. I'll see you guys in the next one.